Hi guys, started reading with Miss Acton again today. You guys already saw what the lesson objective was. The first thing I wanted to show you guys was just to remind you, even if yesterday your dog picture was not the greatest looking thing ever, I just wanted to remind you of what Miss Acton's looked like yesterday. So then she did first, and this is what she did second. So I kind of had two practice rounds before I got here, and that's pretty good. Could be a little bit better. So you're going to see that today yours is going to look a little bit better because you have a good idea of what you're supposed to be doing. So I just wanted to start our video off with a laugh and make fun of. Does he not look like he's got a mustache right here? Kind of looks more like a mouse, I feel like, but he definitely looks like he's got a mustache. Like the hair that goes across the guys wear across their lips. It looks like he's got a mustache. So today we're going to be talking about is informational text and how there's three of them when we talk about their structures. And when we say structure, it's how they are written, so how the author decided to write them. So an author either decided to write an informational text and a chronological. That's normally when we're talking about events that have happened in the past, in history. And that's normally about somebody famous. So like we learned about Barack Obama with Miss Ramos last week. The week before we did Harriet Tubman. Miss Acton showing you guys a slideshow about just the Black African American history in the United States. All of those things all have important events that happen in the correct order. That's a chronological informational text. And a lot of famous people, that's what their text will probably be written about. The next one is descriptive. And you guys have seen this. This is when Miss Acton made you guys read all those passages about tarantulas and how they're good pets and how some people eat them, guys. But descriptive just means you're describing the topic. So the topic in this is tarantulas, more specifically having them as a pet tarantula. And this whole text, every single sentence just describes, is descriptive about how tarantulas need to be pets. So that's kind of a hint when you see an informational text and the whole thing is just describing. It's not going in a particular order. It's just describing, what an animal looks like, what something's supposed to do. That's more than likely a descriptive text. That's the structure. And the last one is sequence. And as you can see, this is the how to draw a dog. And it's a sequence because things are going in a certain order. Kind of like chronological, but with sequencing, you're thinking about what you're getting ready to do. Chronological is something that's already happened in the past. Harriet Tubman happened in the past. Martin Luther King Jr. happened in the past. Harriet Tubman happened in the past. So chronological talks about things that happened way back when and putting them in order. Sequence talks about things that you're getting ready to do and how to put them in the correct order. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. So the first one is chronological. So as you can see, I know we read this text with Miss Just, and Harriet Tubman's, if you read through this passage, it goes from the day she was born all the way to the day that she died and everything else in between. So she was born in 1822. The next thing they talked about how she was treated poor, she was beaten when she was 13, so she's starting to get older. She had a head injury. She escaped. She became the conductor of the Underground Railroad and helped other people when she was born a little bitty baby to when she got older and to where she got old enough to where she was brave enough to be able to make all of these African Americans escape slavery. And it goes all the way up into March 10th, 1913 when she died. So this is chronological order. It's things that have happened in the past. All of these things are happened a long time ago. That's why we can write them. And most importantly, it's happening in order. So if at the top of this they talked about how she died, and in the middle, they talked about when she was born. And in the end, whenever she was a part of the Underground Railroad, I'm just going to do UR for that. That's not chronological order. Sure, it's talking about things that have happened in the past, but then you're kind of just describing her because it's not in chronological order. So that would be a descriptive text. But since this one is written from when she was born, all the cool things that she did as she got older, and then all the way to the day that she died, that makes it chronological. And any text that you see where it starts this way, talks about events that have happened in the past about somebody or some major things, and they're in order. It's chronological. As soon as you lose that order, it becomes the next one, which is descriptive. So descriptive is just when you pick a topic and you write information about it. You describe it. Descriptive and the word describe look a lot alike. So that's kind of like the hint that you want to give yourself today when you're answering questions. So describe is right there, Describe. And they start with the exact same beginning sound, describe and descriptive, and they mean the same thing. When you're being descriptive, it means that you're telling me information. When you're describing something, you're telling me information. So, as we're going through a text like this, every single sentence is going to describe tarantulas as if they were your pet. If my title was Hippos Are Enormous, then every single sentence in that descriptive text would be about hippos and how enormous that they are. So, if you're reading a passage and there's no order to it, it's not going from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, it's not talking about major important events, all it is describing something to you, then it's probably a descriptive text. And we can write an article about Harriet Tubman that doesn't look like it's chronological, doesn't go in order, just tells you information about Harriet Tubman that can be descriptive. So famous people can have descriptive articles about themselves. The one thing that makes it different is that it's not starting from the beginning of their life, going through it to the end, just throwing information at you about that person. And the last one, the one that we're going to focus on today, is the sequence. So we have the first one that Miss Acton has for you, and that is showing us, I'm trying to find the arrow, there it is, and that is showing us how you go in order to make something done. So it's what you're doing right now, and often we're using transitional words, and I have a poster to show you here in a minute. Things like first, then, next, last, and you're telling what's the next thing to do. And the reason why that is important is because if you don't pay attention to what happens first, then next, and finally, you might do the finally as your first step, and probably not going to look very good, especially whenever you're talking about things like recipes, which is what this is right here. So this is a recipe to make an apple tart. This one's written a little bit differently because the steps go in order, not by first, then next, and last, but actually by 1, 2, 3. And you can see that right here. So you can see 1, 2, 3. We forget step number 3. Add sufficient water, which just means add enough water. If you forget that part and you don't have the water that makes it nice and moist, maybe, then your tart will probably be really dry, make your lips and your tongue stick together. So you want to make sure that you're getting all those things in there. So sequence is just kind of like chronological. Things are going in order, but it's because you're getting ready to do something. It's teaching you how to do something. That's why we call it a how-to piece. How to draw a dog, how to make an apple tart. So when you see a recipe, it's a sequential text structure. And whenever you see anything that's teaching you how to do something and it's going in order, it's going to be a sequence text structure. Okay. All right. So first thing I want us to notice is these transition words. So whenever you're opening up a text and you're trying to see, oh, is it chronological, is it sequence, or is it descriptive? The first thing I would do, because it's the easiest one, is see if you see these words: first, next, then, last, finally. If you see those words immediately, then you know that it is automatically a sequence structure. So let's take a look at the one that we did yesterday and that you're going to work on today. So we have first, which lines up perfectly with how you begin it. So again, all of these are clues to tell us that's a sequence structure. So if you ever see a text and they're saying first you do this, then you do this, next you do this, last you do this, finally you do this, it's going to be a sequence text structure. And same thing with a recipe or something where it has steps 1, 2, and 3. And what's cool is if you actually go back to our text, if Miss Acton crossed out the first and just put step 1, crossed out the then and put step 2, it would work. 1, you draw an oval, but make sure it's always sideways. An oval is a circle that is stretched out. 2, you add a triangle with rounded corners at the very top of the oval. This will be the dog's nose drawn upside down. You could do that. So you could, without adding first, then next, and finally, you could just say 1, do this, 2, do this, 3, do this. They have the same structure to them because they're giving you the list of things that you need to do something like a project, whether it's a recipe, creating a dog, making your project, anything like that. So as you can see, we've got our steps right here that show us first, second, third, fifth, sixth, all the steps that you need to take. And if any of those steps are missing, whatever you're trying to create will not be good. All right, so this is one of the texts that you do. So that's all Miss Acton has information for you. So just remember, if you're looking at these structures, what you need to be looking for. Oh, wrong thing. What you need to be looking for when you're looking for chronological text is the important events, and they are in order. Make sure they are in order and they are important events. And whenever you're looking at descriptive text, they're describing the topic. So whatever the topic is, which is usually what the title's about, describing that topic over and over and over. And then the transitional words, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blah, 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 those will tell you if it's sequential. Okay, so you're going to have some questions about that. Good luck. See you guys in a second. Bye.